We have Stephen Stamboulieh on the phone with us. Stephen, welcome to the program. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. It's an honor to talk to you, Glenn, and even Stu.
And even Stu. Wow.
Stephen, don't lower yourself, Stephen.
I've lost so much respect for you already. Hey, I watched your YouTube video. I think it was from the SHOT Show last week. And I am trying to even understand what is going on with the pistol brace rule, because this could make 40 million Americans felons.
Right. So
is this in effect now? Has the clock started to tick? Where are we on this?
Okay. So on Friday the 13th, they put out this final rule, but it did not publish it in the Federal Register. I got back from SHOT on late Friday night. I have not even checked the Federal Register to see if it has been, quote, published in the Federal Register. But publishing it in the Federal Register is what starts the clock ticking for you to do the things the ATF says you need to do to either remain compliant with the law or their new law that they've just created because, well, they hate all of us, or, turn in your rifle, your pistol, whatever, or just ignore it and then become a felon and go spend some time in Club Fed.
Jeez. Okay, so it could have started. We don't know yet. We can find out. Can you see? How do you check the Federal Register? I don't even know. How do you do that? Can the average person do that?
Yeah, and that's exactly what they say is the average person has I can't even remember the exact language, but once it's published in the Federal Register, everyone is just deemed to be on notice that it's been published in the Federal Register and have knowledge of whatever is in the Federal Register, even though most people don't have this masochistic streak where they want to punish themselves by reading thousands of pages of bureaucratic regulations.
Yeah, because I'm on the page here to search for it, and there's 908,512 documents, which surely I know everything and that is in those documents.
Well, you do if you're responsible and you check it every morning like I do. So what do you search for in this? Do you just search for, bad guns?
Evil guns?
Stabilizing braces?
Stabilizing braces, correct.
Okay, look for stabilizing braces. Okay, so once this has been published, then we have 120 days to either get rid of the gun. Let me actually read something to you. This is the way it was pushed today. Let's see. That you can get rid of the brace, destroy it, get the tax stamp, which is impossible, and you can explain that later, at least in time to comply, or destroy the pistol brace, or you can turn your gun into the ATF. I don't even know where the ATF is. Or you can go to prison. So can we destroy the pistol brace?
So they say that you can destroy the pistol brace, and the ATF has various methods of how you're supposed to destroy it. I mean, easiest thing would be, I guess, crush it up, throw it away, right? But yeah, that is one of your options. You can absolutely destroy your pistol brace. You can absolutely destroy your firearm if you're so inclined to do, and you can 100% turn in your firearm to the ATF. I'm sure they would appreciate free guns.
Oh, free guns. Last thing,
right? Well, for them,
yeah,
right.
So
the other thing they tell us to do is, since they're so kind and so gracious, they're going to allow us this one-time opportunity to get a free tax stamp. And Glenn, you spoke about how hard it was to get a tax stamp. You're looking at over a year wait. I mean, it's like a year wait right now before they want to add
40 million
number.
Right.
Right. And if you take the ATF number, that's 3 million. If you take Congressional Research Service, who's, bipartisan, they say up to 40 million. Let's go with 40 million, right? Or anywhere in between. It doesn't matter. They're going to just completely inundate the system with people trying to comply, right? Because most citizens just want to comply with the law so they don't get their door kicked in, their dog shot, and their gun seized. So, yeah, I mean, it's not going to happen within a year. I mean, maybe 2 years.
Maybe. And you are a felon if you have it in those 2 years, correct? Even if you've applied.
So the way that they say this, and this is what gives me like so much heartburn about this, is they're saying we were wrong when we told you over and over and over and over again that a braced pistol is not a short barrel rifle. It's always been a short barrel rifle. We just said the wrong thing, and it's our bad. Sorry. So you're a felon if you have it now. But since we're such nice people, if you go through the process of registering it, right? So you go and you do your e-form 1 or your paper form, whatever, and you submit this to the ATF along with your photographs and your fingerprints, your address, and a picture of the firearm. We will deem you to be in compliance, even though you have a short barrel rifle because you've said it's a short barrel rifle because they said it's a short barrel rifle. And you don't have a tax stamp for it. You are per se in violation of the law, but they're going to use their enforcement discretion to not come after you, assuming you do the things they tell you to do.
Well, the ATF has also warned, reading from the article, Americans with pistol braces are likely already violating the National Firearms Act by possessing an unregistered rifle with a barrel of less than 16 inches. So they're already saying, and even if you're doing all this, you're probably already a felon. I mean, this is madness.
Committing the crime. You've committed the crime by having, with their new definition, a braced pistol that fits into one of their, multiple subjective criteria. You are committing the felony now, and that's why they use enforcement discretion, because you only use enforcement discretion if you're violating the law. There's no need to use enforcement discretion if you're not in violation of any law, because there's nothing to enforce.
So, so what do we do? I mean, because this can't pass a test in the courts. I mean, it would in, maybe California and New York, but it's not going to, even the Ninth Circuit would probably overturn this. Do we have time? What do you do? Do you just sit here and wait it out?
That's a good question. What do you do? I'm wholly uncomfortable admitting to the ATF that I've committed a felony, even though they said they're not going to prosecute me in their enforcement discretion, because that changes. And we've seen from, almost everything the ATF does. They constantly change their mind. I mean, look at bump stocks, right? Look at the 80% lowers, and now look at the pistol braces. So, I mean, they have a demonstrable history of being wrong and changing their mind on everything. So what's to stop them from changing their mind on enforcement discretion or saying, well, Mr. Beck, you just didn't do it good enough, and now we're going to prosecute you. To answer your question, what do you do? There's some organization that is going to be suing them on this
okay.
Here, pretty soon.
I can't imagine what that organization would be, but okay.
Right. Yeah. It's a secret to everybody.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the gun owners of America, I'll tell you that right now. Yeah. Okay, so some organization is going to be suing them, and how is that? How long is that going to take?
Well, it depends on so many different things. The organization would absolutely seek a temporary restraining order and a preliminary injunction throughout the litigation, right? So if that organization could get the rule held in, abeyance while the court is deciding whether or not the ATF can just keep willy-nilly changing its mind on everything, then within 120 days, we would expect to have some kind of answer. And 120 days is plenty enough time for the court to decide whether or not to hold a rule and, just enjoin it pending litigation. I mean, it's plenty of time for them to do that.
And then it gives you, 120 days, and it gives you lots of opportunity in case they go against you. Can you give your, like, for instance, I live in 2 different counties, and I love my sheriffs. And until this thing is worked out, can I just go to my sheriff and say, here, take this till this is, you can use it. If it turns out to be, a felony to own it, you guys take it and you use it. But, I don't want to possess it. I'd be the perfect target. You know what I mean? They're not going to throw 40 million people in prison but they will throw maybe a couple of hundred, and that will teach everyone else. Oh, we can do this to them. We're coming for you.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you can absolutely turn it into your sheriff for, quote, safekeeping while you're, paying attention to what we're doing in the courts to see if we're successful in the courts. And I don't know why we wouldn't be. I mean, this is just so
obvious.
It's like the definition of arbitrary and capricious. If you open up a dictionary, it's going to have a picture of the ATF right there.
Yeah, but you would also have, if this passes, then they can say all semi-automatics. I mean, Joe Biden's already saying semi-automatic handguns are a problem. There's no use for them. That's every gun that's sold unless you're buying an old Western gun.
Right. And, that's funny that you say that. It just jogged my memory. In the, I think it was the Sixth Circuit GOA bump stock case, the senior, deputy counsel for DOJ could not answer whether or not all semi-automatic firearms were machine guns. Like all AR-15s.
Right.
When the court asked him, he's like, I'm not prepared to answer that. And I thought, well, by God, that's a really easy question. No.
Right.
The answer's no.
But if you don't answer it now, you can answer it when you do it in a rule. And then, I mean, is this the first time that you've seen something that hasn't had a grandfather clause in it?
Well, no, I mean, because look at bump stocks, right? After Trump directed DOJ and ATF to basically strike out bump stocks with a pen, all of them turn them in, Mr. and Mrs. America. You're now felons, and you've always, this bump stock, even though we said prior to this it was legal, 100% legal, not a machine gun. I know this is a common theme with the ATF. We were wrong, and they're actually machine guns, and we're going to use our enforcement discretion not to come after you. However, you can't register them because 18 U.S.C. 922.0 does not allow you to have new machine guns, just not prior to 1986 machine guns. Okay, so you can still own a machine gun.
Does the fact that wasn't challenged, or did it lose?
Can we say the fact that Republicans rolled over as Trump did this and said nothing about it?
Right. Does that hurt us on this now?
Now there's more precedent for it.
Well, what's great about the bump stock stuff is in the Sixth Circuit, GOA won at the panel, at like the 3-judge panel stage, and basically the court just really called out the ATF and said you can't do this. And then when it went to the en banc court, basically the full court, they evenly split. And an even split is a bad thing if you lose in the trial court, because what it does is it affirms the trial court ruling because the en banc court couldn't agree on what it was. However, the Fifth Circuit came in for the win a couple of weeks ago in the Cargill case, and basically en banc 13-3 told the ATF bump stocks are not machine guns. So your move, ATF. But the circuits are split on that because all of the different circuits can't agree. And what does that do? It sets you up for the perfect Supreme Court case, because you can't have Texas, Mississippi, and Louisiana applying one federal law one way and then the other states applying it a different way. So the Supreme Court is going to have to step in and resolve that circuit split, because that's a pretty big deal.
But of course, all these companies that were making these things are now out of business. Right, 3 years down the line, this is the process is the punishment half the time.
So we've been talking to Stephen Stamboulieh, and he is with the Gun Owners of America. You can follow all of the information at gunowners.org, gunowners.org, or you can follow Stephen on his Twitter handle at Stambo 2A. I like Stambo 2A. Stephen, thank you so much. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you again.
Yes, sir. Take care.
You bet. Bye-bye.